Okay, so we are going to tackle, Carolyn sent a question in, so I'm going to start with hers, but welcome everybody. For those of you that have never been on a daily live, it is very informal. You can interrupt me anytime. You can ask a question anytime. If you put it in the chat, I will answer it for you. And that is what we do. So anybody that's watching the replay, this is just part of our biannual. We do it twice a year. In April and September, we have a live pop-up group, and this is just one of the calls. So you'll see lots of other people asking their questions, and that's what we do. So I'm gonna get whiteboard in here, and Carolyn's question is, up there's Carolyn, you're here. There you are.
I'm here.
Carolyn had a question about sending a nurture sequence before a course start date. So if you have a, fixed point in time, so I'm going to draw in a timeline right here. And this might be our start date. But then they buy over here. Is that what you were asking about, Carolyn?
That's exactly right, yes.
Okay, perfect. So I'm going to show you guys two different things. One, I'm going to show you the glossary, because if you're watching any of my videos, any of my stuff, I have a very structured naming sequence, which keeps everybody on the same page. So this ES just stands for email sequence, and then buyer, because someone has bought something, and it's either a buyer intro series if it's the first thing they're buying from you, or it's a buyer New York City series if it's the second time they're buying as part of their North Pole to New York City. So that North Pole, just a quick, I always forget to do this. North Pole to New York City, you'll hear me say it a lot. That is simply an easy to remember framework for your entire sales process. And North Pole is cold traffic. Those are your lead magnets, people that have not even opted in. New York City, people spend a lot of money. So that's what it represents, is getting people from reading a blog or listening to a podcast and then quickly getting them to New York City as quickly as possible. The other two spots in here is your lead magnet, which I abbreviate as LM. That's when they opt in. The intro is the first time that they buy from you, and then New York City is the second time that they are buying from you. So that way, everybody, I don't say a word that you're like, what is she talking about? So if you're doing the pre-course, like here's my start date, and we'll go into Kajabi, I'll show you exactly what to do. Let's say the course is going to start on November 1st of this year. So what I would do is I would create a Kajabi event. And the reason for that is the event serves a couple of pieces. I can insert a countdown timer into email broadcasts using Kajabi events. I can also send emails based off the Kajabi event itself. So if I know that the start date is November 1st over here, and I want to nurture that relationship, I can easily just use the emails leading up to that. So that's what I mean right here, where it says pre-course starting sequence. Now we're going to add in the days of your emails. So let's say, where are we today? We're at 9/18/2020. And let's say you want to send, I don't know, 3 or 4 emails leading up to this. So, and I'll show you on the Kajabi screens exactly what you do. But as they're purchasing, so right here, when they're making the purchase on an offered checkout page, we add an automation. So here's our automation right there. And the automation is when the offer is purchased, you would select the offer, then register to an event. Now, that will register them to this event. if you tie the emails to it, it will send based on time dates in here. So if this was, oh, let's see, this could be before the event. Obviously, these are all before the event. And the event being the day of the course starting. So course start date. And let's say this was 28 days before 21, 14, and 7. Then we could choose whatever we want. When you're setting it up, what you want to keep in mind is the first people to buy and the last people to buy. So if I can buy, you know, literally right here, all you want to have thought through is not setting up emails or sequences such that the person who buys last has a horrible experience and the person who bought first got the full experience. So that's why I always like to use a timeline so I can count my days. Questions on any of this big picture stuff before I'm going to hop into Kajabi so I'll walk through the screens with you.
It's probably better to see it visually, yes.
Okay. Bambi, if you're saying something genius, you're on mute.
Thank you. I was saying I had somebody come to the door, so I missed. Is the offer your freebie offer thing that you've been kind of talking about?
Nope. This is her her purchase for her course.
Oh, okay.
So she wants to nurture the relationship before the course start date. So obviously great thing to do if you have delays between when they buy and when it starts. And also, if you're pre-selling a course, like if you're pre-selling something, you can also use this feature, which is also a very good thing.
Okay.
So we will pop into Kajabi.
It's interesting when you go on Kajabi today, you see that they updated their legal and privacy policies, which we were talking about yesterday.
Yep.
I was like, oh wow, they must have heard us.
Yeah.
And they put the checkout back to where it was too.
And they did.
Yeah. They caved.
Yep. They always have our best interest at heart, which is why I will never it's why Kajabi is my forever internet home, because they're good people. They're really, really
yeah. I was gonna say they're people oriented. Yeah.
They are, very much so. Okay, so we want to go into, we would have our offer, but before we can create the offer, we need to have the event. So very often in Kajabi, you're going to usually build the last thing that someone experiences, because we're always tying things forward. So we tend to build in the reverse order. It's not a big deal if you do it out of order. You might just have a couple extra steps. It's not going to be disastrous by any stretch of the imagination. So what I would do is I would create a new event. And again, there's multiple ways to do this. I will say it, you'll hear it on old videos. There's many ways to add up to 12. 6 times 2, 10 plus 2, 24 divided by 2. Same things in Kajabi. I can put together the pieces in many different ways and come up with the end result that is the same. So many times that's why I will ask people, what is it we're trying to achieve? What is it you want to do? And then say, oh, well, let's do these two features instead of the other way, because it's just easier for their facts and circumstances. So this, we're going to call it nurture, nurture sequence pre-course start date. You would obviously name it. This is my test site, so I have to be able to find this stuff. You would name it like my course start date, whatever that is. So what did we say? It would be November 1st. So we just click out. say, yep, it's going to start November 1st. And if, put in the time, if that's applicable, click apply, choose the time zone. You're not likely going to make this a repeating event. So once those pieces are done, you're going to click save. Now, when you're using the emails from the event screen, which is where we are, we're on the event, you can see event actions. Currently, there's nothing there yet. We haven't put anything there. The event, it lives right here on the left-hand side in that middle section. And then there's actions after the event. We haven't put anything there either just yet. When we set up emails on this screen, they will send, but you won't be able to see it anywhere in Kajabi. There's not a tab that we can go and say, oh, look at the email broadcast sent. So that if that's a really, really important feature that you are able to click somewhere and be able to see how many were sent, how many were opened, how many were clicked, use email broadcasts. Currently, do not use this feature. But if you're nurturing someone pre-course start date, this is just a really easy way to not have to worry about counting days in a sequence and turning the sequence off so that it doesn't run past the start date. And what I would do is I would just click add email. And here you can, these are your choices. At the time of registration, at the time of the event, before or after the event. So let's say we're nurturing it out and we want to send an email 28 days. We'll just call it nurture message 1. Put all your texts in these messages right here. Now you can see it says event actions. Now there is an email, you can tell by the blue vertical bar, that happens before the event. I can add another one. We said 21 days. So I would do before the event. There we go. 21. We have a choice of minutes, hours, days, weeks, and months. So choose what is going to work for you. I'm just doing really big macro timing right now. Nurture message 2. Put text here. Click save. And then we can repeat that action. We can send things out, leading right up to it. So as we're keeping it in mind for the people that, let's say, by the day before the event is going to start, your last message in terms of nurturing might happen, excuse me, 7 days before. So what I would do in those situations, we'll go back to the whiteboard. Is I would look at my timeline and I'm saying, okay, the purpose of using events and using those messages was to nurture the people who are buying way closer to the front end. So it's fulfilled its purpose. We're now like just a few days before this course is going to start. Let's switch colors here. Let's make it green. Here, I might send some messages in this green. I'm going to use email broadcast because this I can send to, I can pull in using filters, owns, offer of whatever the course is, okay? So I can filter based on this. I can send an email broadcast out that's like, hey, we're getting ready to start. Here's the pre-work stuff. Here's like, we're all getting on the same page for whatever needs to happen. The nice thing is I can insert, and I'll show you this, I can insert the countdown timer from the event in the email. So if it was counting down to your course is starting and the first call is, say, at 3 o'clock, the email that I send out as part of the broadcasts over here are going to go out to everyone that's buying last minute. I've nurtured the relationship with event emails to the people that have bought earlier or that I pre-sold. And I have the nice feature of using the event countdown timer. So go, anybody have questions on that? So to do the broadcast, we go into email campaigns. You create new email campaign. You want to broadcast. So I abbreviate that as EB versus ES for email sequences. In the email broadcast, I have the choice of the classic editor, which is just normal black and white standard email text, or the visual editor. So these are all exactly the same. They are just different starting points. So if you have a template, you can use your own template. If you want to start with one of these more graphical designed ones that Kajabi does for us, you can start there, but they're all functionally exactly the same. There's no difference in terms of function. So here I could use announce an event, you know, as the broadcast, hey, we're getting ready to start. So if I choose this, here you would filter based on a custom segment, and you would choose people that own the offer. So right here has any of these offers, and then you would choose the offer that was starting. This is my test site. I have no idea who's in these offers, so we're just gonna use my 23 subscribers here, and click save and continue.
Hanson,
Yeah.
can I ask real quick? So I have 2 offers for the
Okay.
course. So would I do this twice?
Nope.
Oh,
You can
okay.
have them both.
Okay.
You can have them both. So you go to your edit recipients, and you can build in as many, like you can stack requirements as much as you need to. So here, if we say has any of these offers, we just choose both offers. So here, I'm gonna choose this one, and I'm gonna choose this one, and I'm gonna hit apply. So now mine will probably go, yeah, to 0 because I have nobody in there. But once I have it, you'll see it in the black text. It says has any of these offers, data, membership, or Bambi. I can choose to save that segment so they don't have to keep remaking it. I could call it, I'll use myself, like let's say I was stacking it up and I was like, yep, it's PBK fall 2020. What are, you know what, let's do this thing. Course name, season, year. That was probably more applicable to how you might go looking for things. So
that's like
now,
exactly how I do it. that's hilarious.
Great minds. Great minds think alike. So now I have that as a segment. See how it says segments right here? It's saved, like it'll always show up. All I have to do anytime I want to go grab those people is now just choose that custom segment that I saved. So it makes life very, very, very easy. And as people buy the offer or, you know, cancel their offer or their offer runs out, it's a dynamic list. So we don't have to babysit it. We just have to get the qualifiers correct. And then Kajabi handles, oh, you should be in, you should be out, you should be in, you should be out. Kajabi handles all of it, which is very, very nice.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's awesome. So,
Carolyn, can I ask you, the course that you're doing, what are your offers before that?
You mean, I'm sorry, I don't understand the question.
Are they free things, or these are things that they bought or they've pre-bought the course? That was where I got confused.
The course, I make the course live on a specific date, but there's people who purchase it before it's live. So
Okay.
that's why I asked this question about, because I don't want them to just be sitting there waiting around and not getting any communications.
Right. Okay. Because I'm kind of doing the same thing. I'm a sell it as I build it.
Right. Yes.
But I just threw in to the actual course fast getting started module with some stuff that they can start working on before.
Yes. And there's a lot of prep that they could do beforehand. And
Right.
I want that in there.
Yeah.
So they can, yeah.
Got it. All right.
Here, let's do it. You guys are just a second. So in this situation, you can have really 3 layers of communications going because they're each going to serve a different purpose. So let me pick a different color. Oh, we'll go with pink. Okay, so this email sequence buyer intro, and I'm going to open up the glossary so you guys can see where this is. And it's public, so it doesn't go anywhere. You can use it whenever you want. This email sequence of the buyer intro, that gets triggered as soon as they buy their offer. So if there is pre-work, if there is, hey, I need you to do this, they finish that, I need you to do this, like a very set onboarding sequence, that gets triggered here. Event emails, yes, I'm nurturing down here because you bought way ahead of time. When you're doing email sequences, it's really helpful to keep in mind your last to buy person, because this sequence is going to send when the offer is purchased. So if let's say I wanted to nurture them for a month. If the person that buys the day before, so my last to buy person, that sequence that's nurturing them leading up to the start date is going to run 28 days past the start date. So for instance, when my email sequence buyer intro for PBK, my cart always opens on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So this is the day, like there's a welcome orientation call on Wednesday. My email is timed from the person that buys at 11:59 here. So it's only a 2-day email sequence. The people that buy on the first day, their sequence ends right about here. And if I need to say anything, I would use email broadcasts in this portion. That makes sense how you can layer the two together?
Can you I'm sorry, can you explain how that person doesn't go past the date of the start date? I'm sorry,
So
the last person to buy right before the course begins. How do you handle that?
So my sequence is only 2 days long. My sequence is short between the last time they can buy and the first time there's something going on over here.
And if someone purchased on that first, what is it, a Thursday? Then 2 days, they have the sequence for 2 days and then nothing until it starts. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So what I would do is the people that buy early, which is 90% of mine, I have my biggest sale day is my very first day. When that ends here, I would use either talking with them inside Mighty Networks, because that's where we have our community stuff, or I would send an email broadcast. So that way I'm not fighting against a sequence that's running on a timer against me, and I'm not messing up the last to buy person. So the last to buy, that's what you want to, if you're going to use the sequencing portion, which can be layered in with what this is, this event portion. So this is the easiest one I find to understand. And then if we need to blend in email sequences, you can. Sorry, these are event emails. Here, I don't use event emails for my open and close because I need them to get this pre-work stuff. Like this here, I need them to get this. And if somebody buys at 11:59, they really honestly wouldn't get a single email because I wouldn't have any set up in the events for that period of time. I've completely confused everybody. Did I lose everybody? No? Okay. So a lot of
Sorry, you froze for a second for me.
I froze.
Sorry about that. Sorry.
Okay.
No, yeah, so you don't use events.
Not in this situation. I wouldn't for me because it wouldn't work right. For you, my husband, for you, if you're nurturing the relationship, this is where you might have two blended together. So when they buy email sequence, buyer, is it the first thing that they're buying from you? Could be.
Could be,
Okay.
but most of the people this round will be people who have purchased my course before.
Okay. So it could be, then that
But they
could-
still need to be prepared.
Yep.
When it starts.
Yep. So, and does the cart close a certain number of days? Like between the course starting, when's the last time someone can buy?
Oh God, sometimes I let them in. Can you hear me? Okay. Sometimes I let them in when the first day of the course.
Okay.
Depending. So I don't shut them out the first day of the course because I do build in 3 or 4 days prep anyway.
Gotcha. Okay. So your email, if you were going to use an email sequence, it's going to be more procedures so that even if I buy it, let's say you let me in the day after the course started, that sequence would still make sense to me. Because if it's like the procedures that are going on, I bought the course, I still need to get those things in place, even though I might have done, some of them in a little bit of a haphazard order. That's different than if I'm nurturing the relationship leading up to a start date.
Okay.
Is that?
Mm-hmm.
That's the difference. So if I'm nurturing because I'm using the event start date of, okay, this person bought 6 weeks ago. Okay, what do I want to talk about? I can also use email broadcasts. I don't have to use event emails. And the first couple of times that you're running it, I would say use a broadcast to be like, oh, yep, that's the message I want to send. This is one instance where I would say you're automating it. You're using an event and you're automating it right here. You can also change the emails. So this is actually a brilliant example of how many ways can we add up to get to 12.
Exactly.
A gazillion, which is why you have to know, what is it that they need to do? So can we use you as an example?
Sorry, I was muting. Me?
Yeah, you.
Yeah.
Carolyn.
Yes.
Okay. So what's the day the course is going to start?
Dare I say this out loud? I wanted to have them start October 1st.
Okay.
So, you know, I've been basically nurturing them for 2 years, so
Yep.
they better.
You're good.
They know what, they know who I am.
You're good. Okay. Is there a kickoff call? Of any-
October 1st.
Okay.
Yes.
What time is it at?
I first day, noon and 7 p.m. Whoever can make those.
Okay, so they have two choices, right?
They have 2 choices.
Okay, noon or 7. And you don't care which one they come to.
Nope.
Okay, perfect. So I could, sometimes I always like to give myself options. So I would create the event, may use it, may not use it, and say, okay, the event is 10/1/2020. You will have to pick one of those times, because I think if you had 2 countdown timers going, it would be confusing. So let's choose the earlier one.
Okay.
Are you on Eastern time?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So now it's the 18th. People can start buying. And they have roughly 12 days, 13 days.
Right.
Okay, so 12 days here. I think your, what colors did I use? Pink and green. Okay. I think do you have an email that you need to send them with what to do to get ready?
I have suggestions and they can do that or not, but this, when they do, they give themselves a lot. Well, I'm sorry, I'm giving you too long of an answer. Yeah, I send out emails on ways to get, they don't, like I said, someone can come in on the last day. They'll still have 3 or 4 days.
Got it.
But there's definitely people who have, I mean, they've been doing the course and they know that they want more.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I would do, for what you're describing, I think you're going to maintain the most control by using an email broadcast. So
Yes. Okay.
this way, can you do it with all these different pieces? Yes, you can. You absolutely can. But for what you're describing, if I filter on owns, offer 1, and you said there's 2 different ones, so owns offer 1 or offer 2, this gives you your people. Given that there is a 12-day period, in this situation, I would just send a broadcast. And if you send a broadcast, the email that they can get right away, I'll show you on the offer checkout page. There's a send email. You could put the ways to get ready in that. It's very easy to do. So as soon as they buy, they would get that email.
Yes,
And-
I've done that before.
Perfect.
But I haven't done the next step. I've only given them that first one.
Well, I think you can send this same email at least 2 more times.
Oh,
Most people
gotcha.
don't read it. Most people don't read it. Like, they don't read it until it's like here. It just happens. I mean, it's human nature. I ignore
Okay.
that. So sending it, saying, you know what, if you've done everything, awesome. Glad that you did. See you weren't, see you on the, first. But for this situation, I think you're fine to really send the same email. Hey, did you get your stuff ready? 1, 2, and 3. Do you use like a Facebook group or a Slack channel, like somewhere where they check in together?
No.
No? Okay. So if you did, you could have a, hey, post in Facebook. Yep, I got all logged in, or like you could make there be some action, but not necessary. Now, if you're going to run this again, right? Because this is one that you want to turn into more ongoing, or is that a different course from the other day that we were talking about?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Would you run this course again? Would it have another start date after October?
Yes. So this course, this is kind of the beta course of running for 3 months, October, November, December, and one beginning in January.
Okay.
So I'm letting this group helping me iron out all this. And then the January group, hopefully I'll
Always
have
a good
this
thing.
clear.
Always a good thing. So, and this is where the January group, you were going to open the cart towards the tail end of this first group, correct?
Yes, but I want to, I have known from the past that that's not like those last 6 weeks, that half of November and December, not great. So
Okay.
I want to have this
You want to have
open
it open
softly
now.
in October, open softly in October. Yeah. And then again in early January.
Gotcha. Okay. So that's what I was writing with the blue is this is my open dates.
Who knows what people's psyche will be this year, but
Exactly.
that's been the past.
There, I can totally see that. Totally see it. So when you know your open dates for this January date, here is where I would use the event date because that's a long way out. You know, it's a long way out. So now I could put in, let's say I'm using event emails, which is event emails, and I want to send, oh, I don't know, let's say 5 of them. I would figure out when, count my days from the event date. The whole purpose is nurturing.
Right.
Getting them talking, building the relationship, different from the process, which is more this piece. Like, here's what you need to do to get ready. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. So when you're nurturing in your situation, the event date would serve you very, very well. When they buy, so we'll put the offer up here. The offer, they buy. Again, we can send this same email right here. Hey, you're getting ready. Now I can include that message. So we'll call that the process message. I could intersect, like I could put that in as part of the message 4 on those event emails so that I'm blending the two together. I'm still nurturing them, but it's like, hey, we're getting close. I know it's been a while. Have you done this, where it still makes sense to the person that bought now, but doesn't start till January, and people that are joining in early January right here are really just going to get this one right in this spot.
Okay.
So that way you can blend them together. And let's say you run it again in March, right? Or April. Would it be April? January, February, March?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. That's my idea is plan is April, May, June, July, August, September.
We can say, okay, in April, yep, they can buy in here. So now I'm using, no. Sorry, guys, put my hand on the power button. There we go. Now I can say, here's the event email. I'm nurturing. So exactly this process. Now you're at the rinse and repeat stage, which is where I like to get to.
Oh, it's till April.
Yeah. But you have to go through enough cycles where you're like, oh, I've got this immediate group that usually if we're turning something on that's going to rinse and repeat, the first group is usually the more hodgepodgey, we'll say. And then you're like, no, here's my start date. Here's what I want to nurture, but they can buy here and stop buying here. What's my nurturing? What's my procedural? and putting it together just on a timeline like this is when Kajabi really starts to shine. Because if we know what we want, as long as we put it in correctly, it'll pull it off for us. Plain and simple. It makes it so easy to run. So those event nurture dates, you'd have, you know, the same ones like that. And when they buy, they get the process message, and you'll figure out what timing is working best to get the results for the majority of the people coming through your stuff.
Awesome. Okay. I'm so glad this is recorded. I'm gonna have to go back through.
No, it's I always like to say, okay, what's the simplest way to achieve what I want to achieve, while also I don't want to babysit this stuff, because I will forget to send an email, or I'll forget to communicate to someone else to send the email, and then that person, oh well, they forgot. Like, if I map it out and I know exactly where the pieces are fitting, then say, okay, what's the best tool in your initial one, like this very, very first group. Sorry, I took away the whiteboard too soon. This very first group, email broadcast is the best way to go. You're dealing with 12 days. Email broadcast, definitely the best way to go. You know, this is going to be your next start date, or maybe it's the 7th, or, you know, it's early January. If you put in those event dates, now Kajabi can nurture it for you. Like, I can, you know, bring you along. I know kind of what I'd like to talk to you, but, you know, we got 12 weeks possibly before you start, or 10 weeks, or whatever it is, knowing that there's nurturing messaging and there's procedural messaging. I need you to take this measurement. I need you to buy this thing. I need you to check in on this platform, like the procedural stuff. And then knowing, am I giving them both of those things? Because they serve two very different purposes.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I'll send you the images. So,
okay. Thank you.
I'll send them over like I did the other time. I'll just put them through on Mighty Networks. Okay.
I think that I'm not going to go through the learning curve of the Kajabi email until I get these people on board, because I am still using ConvertKit, and
stick with ConvertKit.
Do the broadcast through ConvertKit.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Stay with ConvertKit. Absolutely. When you're like we talked about, I think, was it Monday or Tuesday? When you're trying to do multiple pieces and there's lots of new, don't do everything new at the same time. There's no need. Where you're like, oh, I want to do it now, but you know what? In April, I'd like to have the April launch coming through Kajabi. Cool. Then set those pieces up for the April launch. But don't.
Okay.
You do not have to do everything all at once. No.
I guess my concern was that I'm not clear on how to. I have made mistakes with people coming in and being members and subscribers. So I wasn't clear on that in the past, and then people were not getting their emails like you were talking about yesterday, or they weren't getting their announcements, and it was a disaster. And I thought, okay, I could really screw this up. Like,
if you go, since you were on yesterday's, if you go into your Kajabi site and you put it to, oh, I'll be right back. Talk amongst yourselves. Sorry, guys. Okay.
So how are we doing today, folks? Good, bad? Weather's terrible.
Good.
What?
Being focused.
Yeah.
What I miss? Losers?
Thanks for everyone listening through my
Oh,
my project here.
That's
No, it's
awesome.
good.
That's
No, that was
exactly what's needed.
Oh, it benefits everybody, you know.
Oh, good.
yeah.
Okay.
I never.
I actually had a
Yeah.
question for you,
I
Carol.
followed it along on my desktop while they were doing it. Were you guys doing that too? I went to Kajabi and clicked on event and like followed along.
Oh, yeah, I can do that.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, I didn't know you could do emails out of an event. I just
Yeah,
used
I didn't know either.
a countdown timer on my emails.
I bought events that just had Kajabi for the event and like there was nothing else there. It was like they sold it on Kajabi as the event, but they had nothing else on Kajabi.
Oh, weird.
I went to like a couple like workshops and they sold it through Kajabi.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Did someone say they wanted to ask me something? This is Carolyn.
I was going to ask you, when you're going to open so after you've done the first course, and then you're going to do it again in January, are you letting them purchase the offer starting in October through through the start date? Or are you going to only open the cart for a couple of weeks before the January start date?
For the people who are already in the course? I'm sorry, I'm not sure I understand.
No, so you sell the first course and you start it October 1st.
Mm-hmm.
And then she put on her little whiteboard that it would be open again October, November, and December. So are you actually opening the cart where they can purchase to start in January? Or are you going to only open the cart for like a couple weeks or a couple days before the January start date?
What I plan to do is, this could absolutely change. What my plan is to have go through October, and towards the end of October, there may be people who they can jump into the course in November and December if they want. I'm going to, I'll be flexible there. But in general, what I want to do is just simply have maybe a couple weeks in the beginning of November, that 1 week at the end of October, a couple weeks in the beginning of November, where I'm talking about the course, because in the past I've noticed that there's not a lot of attention at the end of the year. So I just want to talk about it in the beginning of the year and have the opportunity for people to purchase for January. Does that answer the question? Because I'm going to open it again in January for a week or two.
Okay. So you're not letting them purchase during November, December. You're just talking about it. And then you'll open the cart a couple weeks.
No, I'll let them purchase.
January.
I'll let them purchase. Absolutely. I'll have the offer available. I'll have the offer available. And then that's why I was very curious about the nurture sequence, because I really wanted to be able to nurture them properly once they purchased, if they purchased that early.
Yeah, she wants to be open. Let me erase it because I have it more like October there. There.
I'm not exactly clear on those dates. I have to see when I can be ready for that, but I definitely want to have it open early November. There's just a huge drop off in attention after in late November and December. But like I said, who knows what this year will be like? That's been past history, but there's a lot, people are going to be treating the holidays probably very differently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I try to keep everything November to the 1st, Thanksgiving to the week after New Year's. Attention span is hard. Like it's so difficult. So it's definitely
there's just no way. There's just no way to keep anybody's.
Nope. You're like, okay, so that's what it is. So what are we blending around it? Which,
although interestingly, it's also a time of acquiring things where you don't have their attention, but they're also buying. So
absolutely,
it's a weird time.
Absolutely. Well, and it's also, you have which we run into it. We're talking about like this stuff within PBK, and we have people that do fitness or, new year, new goal planning stuff. And I'm like, you guys, you are up against Peloton, literally someone with a marketing budget the size of like the free world. It's very hard. So it was like, okay, if you are up against very loud, very noisy, but people are purchasing, I mean, they're buying that stuff. How can you intersect in a way that you're not feeling defeated because you are up against the, metaphorical, whoever the Peloton of your world is. Because my fitness people definitely run into it every single year, but yet it's the biggest time.
That's really interesting.
It's the biggest time of when people are buying stuff and when they're looking for the transformation. And so we have different discussions. We're like, okay, you're up against Peloton. What you gonna do? Because unless you are a Peloton, which means you're a Nordic Track or a whoever, you're not gonna beat them. Like, you're just not going to. It's not gonna work. But you can come in from a different angle. You can complement it in a certain way. You can take advantage of the messaging, because when there's something really noisy in your space, that's a good thing. You know that the attention's there. You know the interest is in there. Great. There's a lot of noise. How do I amplify that without it being deafening on my own business? How can I capitalize and come along with it without trying to compete against it? Because I'm not going to win. Like, there's no way.
That's a fantastic spin on that, because I have to spin that negative view that I'm having, because people need to know how to support their diet if they're going to jump on a Peloton every day. So That's such a great, I shouldn't think about it that way.
Yeah. And it was, which Joanne's not on here more. Joanne that was on for at the beginning, she has a fantastic organizing business. But she comes at it from a way that it's sustainable and it actually achieves the results. Well, right now, for anyone that, doesn't know, on Netflix, there's the show called The Home Edit. It's getting all kinds of buzz, like, at least in my realm, which, I'm really their target audience, moms that want everything cute and organized, everything, put it in a cute little container. And it's like, oh, there's all this interest, just like there was with the KonMari method a few years ago?
Yes. Yeah.
It's like, oh, there's all this interest, there's all this buzz. Okay, how can I complement that discussion? I can't take it over. I don't need to take it over, but the interest is there. People are saying, oh my gosh, I want this. So how do we blend in and differentiate and be like, I know you want the cutest, most perfectly organized playroom ever, but if you leave for the day and come back at the end of the day, how are you going to maintain it when I'm not here? Like, you need to be part of this. Let me help you. Let me show you. Let me bring your kids in terms of, they're the ones that make that playroom a mess. So why in the world are we sending everybody away for the day when the magical fairies come in? Okay, unless they're moving in permanently, that's not going to help. Okay, great. You've got your Peloton. Everyone right now is selling selling our current Pelotons, because Peloton just released the Bike Plus. It's like your monitor will spin now. And I have I've had mine for a while, and everyone's selling it. Like, oh, I can unload this and get the new one. So you have people that are gathering up the old ones. You have people that are getting the new ones. Well, sorry, the bike doesn't magically transform you. What you're doing off the bike, the other 23 and a half hours of the day, comes into play. How you want to maximize your output? Hey, let's work on this. You want to have a greater impact on this. So yeah, pay attention to where the volume is, and then how do you complement it? Because we all know gyms, historically, from February 1st, empty. Suddenly there's room for everybody. But January 7th, January 8th, you're standing in line to get into anything. You're like, yep, I give you another 10 days and I'll be able to get into that class once again.
That's so true. That's so true. Last what is it, Black Friday? I
Yeah.
bought a what's the word called? Intermittent fasting program on Kajabi, and I've been following the lady and stuff like that. So it like complements, working at the gym, and because she shows herself working at the gym and how you can fast before the gym or after the gym. So it all fit into it. And speaking of the Peloton, it's really funny because I was in a Facebook challenge 2 months ago, and it was with Pedro Adeo and Damon John. And again, it was all gamified, right? And so if you like did the homework, you went live in the group every day and stuff like that, then they put the names in the wheel and they spin the wheel and you won something. So then the last day was chaotic and stuff like that. So it was like anybody who was in there on the Zoom, and then the sun just picked people randomly. So you had a choice of all the different prices, right? So I kept saying, I want the Peloton, I want the Peloton. I won. And I chose the Apple Watch instead. And then now you're talking about the Peloton. I'm like, I should have gotten the Peloton, but I thought I'm in an apartment and, I have to pay someone to put together. And so I thought, no, but I have eczema really bad. And I'm on my 3rd band already because it's breaking out. But I like it so I'm glad I got it because I watched your unboxing when you got yours from Kajabi too. So I was like, yeah, okay. I had to make the business decision.
Yep.
But now I'm kind of regretting it, seeing all the people with their Pelotons.
Now's the time to pick one up. I'm telling you, the people their deal was, which I'm keeping mine. I'm like, I don't care if the way my house is set up, I don't need to spin my monitor. Like I'm okay. And I was just like, I think Peloton will give us I want to say like a $700 credit or a $750 credit if we return our bike and then purchase the bike plus. So they'll give you a credit. People are like, forget that. I can sell it, for $1,500 or $1,800 on Facebook Marketplace. So it's working out really well. The people that want to upgrade, people are, at least in Michigan, they're buying up bikes all over the place. Because Chris is like, do you want to sell yours? I'm like, no, I'm good. I don't want to stand in line again to get my bike. I got it before there was a traffic jam, and in the middle of the pandemic is not when I'm going to get in line for a Peloton jam again. So they're fantastic. I will say it is. And it's a very small footprint. It's about the size of a king size pillow is its footprint. It's a very slim, sleek footprint. At least the old generations were. Let's see here. Bonnie, I typed it in, or Bambi, I typed it in the side. I'm more than glad. But I think I'll just do a loom of like my business model.
All the sense in the world.
Yeah, I can do that because I actually owe it to a few people inside PBK too.
Perfect.
So I will do that because that way it'll be easier.
Perfect. Thank you.
The one is that can we change the color of the test for our category and post titles? What do you mean by that? Did I lose Bambi? Okay, Bambi comes back. I'll come back to that one.
No, I'm
Bonnie?
sorry. I was on mute.
Oh,
Sorry.
you're fine.
Oh, so I was working with my graphic designer and she was like, "Ooh, it'd be really nice if you could make those course titles, what we know in Kajabi as categories and posts. If you could change that copy or that text to your teal color, your brand color."
Yep, you sure can. So in your product, we open up a product and you're going to go under your settings. Sorry, under this, the customize portion.
Okay.
Yeah, man. Under this settings tab. So not sections, but settings.
Yeah.
Underneath, this is an old product. Okay, so on a newer product, this screen will look a little bit different. This is an old product.
Yeah.
There's 4 colors right here.
Uh-huh.
I can change these. So let me go, let's just make a new product because this is an old one. So let's go back here. But that's where it is. It's under settings, and then you have, I think they call it primary, dark, and something in, I don't remember the names of the 4 color things, but
a customized color.
if you, yeah, you can just choose whatever color you want. And then it'll make your headings. And this is absent color custom coding. You do custom coding, you can change all kinds of things. There we go. So see the category, if I change,
Blank category.
I think it might be the pink. Let's see. Yeah. Should change these. A second. Let's save. Let me preview it. Might, oh, there it is. Okay. So on the post level, it shows up. So what did I make purple?
Category.
Okay, so primary was purple, darker was my yellow. So
and that was the bottom bar.
That's the bottom. The primary is that button. It's the name of the category on this post, and it's the complete button. But where is the pink? I don't know where the pink is showing up.
Post category text.
So yeah, if it's
Well,
looks like on the,
I can just play around with that. One of the things that annoys me is that I wish that there was a way I could lock in my brand colors in certain areas. Sometimes I see them and sometimes I don't. Like when I'm trying to change copy for text and newsletters and stuff.
the place that you can put them, if you haven't done so already, if you go into settings on your dashboard, and
I have that already.
oh, let's see, might be under site details. Yep. So under site details, if you click a color, like on the palette, and then change it to yours, hit return, that will stay there. So this is how you put in your brand colors. Okay, now click save. Now throughout the different places in Kajabi where it will let you pick from that color picker, those will then show up.
Okay.
So if we want to go back to but that's how you change them. Like if I want to reset the default, now this is the Kajabi default. I click save, my colors are out. But to change and make my brand colors that will show up on the product pickers, click, change it, click save.
Mm-hmm.
And then it will show up. There's a few different places in Kajabi where that is an option. They will then show up for you. You won't have to keep putting them in.
Would you peek? Because a place where I see it often, or don't see it, shall I say. If you go into marketing and start an email broadcast.
Okay.
Or at least I think that's where I get it. It's like half the time they're in the palette and sometimes they're not, and it's so flippin' annoying because I have to keep looking up my color numbers. Drives me nuts. Just a regular classic editor.
Oh, classic editor.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a whole different story. That I don't know.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Classic editor. That I don't know. We'll take a peek. Okay. In here, I bet, right?
Yeah. I always have to type it in. I never can find it.
Yeah, it has definitely not made its way into this yet.
All right.
It has made its
my mind. It's just, yeah.
No, it has made its way over to the new Encore 1.2.4 pages.
Okay.
It has made its way into, which is usually a preview to coming attractions. Like it doesn't show up in all the places, but when you start seeing it in certain places, you're like, okay, the code now exists. I just gotta move it over. So text to image. Yeah, see how it's made its way here.
Okay.
So this is the custom palette picker.
Okay.
It's made its way into text boxes on Encore 1.2.4. It's made it there. But that means since this is exactly what's available in many other places in Kajabi, that it should be making its way into those other areas.
Okay.
So it is, you're not going crazy.
If you start just a new page, is it automatically going to be Encore, or do you have to choose that?
If you start a new page, it will be Encore.
Okay.
Unless you click into the legacy themes, the only thing that you can see are all Encore pages.
Okay.
They're all different variations of Encore in terms of design aesthetics, but the engine under the hood is exactly the same.
Okay, superb. Thank you.
Yep.
Those are my questions.
Okay. All right. Dora, I will send you an email in or a video in PBK, and I'll put it in the pop-up group because I need to get going. But she had a question about how to use tags for sending out email broadcasts. So I'll link to the couple videos that are already in PBK, but then I'll make you a video. If you wanted to send me a specific question, then I'll cater it towards that. But promised the boys we would go to the park before everyone else gets out of school today. So we gotta go to the park before everybody else gets out of school.
Definitely.
That's awesome. Thanks so much.
You're
Allison, we
welcome.
appreciate you.
You don't have to send me, just send me where it is. If you just send me where it is, I can go and
Okay,
figure it out.
I'll send you where it is.
I've been playing with Kajabi since I became a founding member, so I do have some background behind me, so I don't want to put you through too much. Just send me where I need to go, and then if I have questions, that way it'll streamline it for you and me.
Perfect. Sounds good. All right, everybody have a great weekend.
You too. Bye now.
You too. Thanks.